show, to the live podcast. What if the games you play for fun are secretly training you for work and for life? Strategy games will teach long-term planning. Co-op games teach leadership and trust. Even Monopoly teaches, what not to do with power. I guess that's what Monopoly teaches you. Today we're talking about what games reveal about how you show up at work, how you use games to build team culture, and why play might be one of the most human and useful things we do. Grab your tea and tell me in the chat what game shaped your brain the most. As always, ask your questions in the comments. Why did I go way down? That's weird. Of course, my name is Ian Hopfe, and you're watching Ian the HR Pro live podcast, where I'm dangerously unscripted. Drop your questions anytime in the comments. This always works better if there's questions, and I can just change topics and talk about your questions instead. No problem there. Just trying to figure out why do I look so dark? Let's crank that up a little bit. So, right, HR questions, workplace culture, leadership, career, or if you just want to talk games today, just talk about a game, right? If you want help with your staff drama, if you're a small or medium-sized business owner, go up here to my QR code and get my $7 ebook, How to Stop Staff Drama in 5 Days. Yeah. Good tea. I need another one. Oh, that Earl Grey hitting good today. So, let's go to topic number 1. This is a continuation from the last 2 weeks. I'm kind of bringing in stuff from the last 2 times we met on a Friday. So this would be the Friday before Christmas and then the Friday immediately before that. So topic number 1, are games a waste of time or a way to experience beauty? I want to argue a little bit that games aren't just entertainment. They're interactive beauty, the art, the story, the design, and the choices the game gives you. That's beauty. That's us. That's us humans creating some beauty. And isn't playing a part of being human? As children, as babies, we play to explore our environment around us. And then as we get older, now that we have technology, we're using technology to play and explore the wider world or the wider universe. Some of them could be fictional, yes. Who's this? Jonathan says there is a redone remaster, Master of Orion 2, updated graphics and animations. We're due for a galactic battle. Yes, we are, Johnny. I got Steam working on my Mac, and that's where I was playing the game Stellaris. So, and on there I saw that they had the original Master of Orion games and stuff. I didn't bother downloading it yet, or you got to pay for it. So I was searching for a game, and Stellaris has really been a great game. But yeah, if we can get that Master of Orion in there, I guess Master of Orion 2 was probably the best version. Um, it was simple enough, but it was pretty cool. We had lots of time playing it. Yeah, Johnny, definitely. Let's get that going sometime. Let's see if we can connect on the network, on the interwebs network. So with games, right? Like Johnny just talked about the space game. Well, we're kind of exploring this advanced strategy, technology stuff, making us think creatively in that game. And I want to play is definitely part of being human. And I think a lot of adults, we forget about this. And as we get older, there's the new technology, new ways of playing. And the older generations, we kind of get a little out of touch with that. And I guess that's okay. That's the way it's always been. But adults, we tend to forget to play. But we play different things. We go to a poker night or whatever. We start doing more adulty type things. I mean, I really enjoy board games, and we have a couple friends here in Edmonton. They like playing board games, so we like going over and playing board games with them, and that's always great. I mean, they got some really advanced, crazy board games nowadays compared to just Monopoly or just going around in a circle. What's that one with the little guys, the colored peg things? It's just like super basic game. You just roll the dice and you try to get around as fast as possible. It's pretty lame. Anyway, that was old school board games. Now it's new school board games with all kinds of strategy, and it's just crazy. Can I make the argument that games, I guess more specifically video games, are art that you can enter and not just look at? You have entered the art. You've entered the beauty of that game. You are now in there participating in that game. I mean, we had limited versions of that when Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing games came out, and you had to imagine you were there, and it got the creativity going. But now you get into that video game and you're in that world. Even some of the board games now, they're just so intricate. You are there, you are living that universe, that piece of art, a piece of beauty that someone has created. I mean, I just think that's neat. Why are we creating this beauty at all? The art, the design, the story, the mechanics, the game mechanics. Board game mechanics seem very advanced nowadays because, you're rolling a dice, but you're using a card, you're shuffling a card, so there's some luck involved, but you're also having to buy resources, or you can only do certain things each round, and other people are doing the same thing, so the resources of the commons is limited. I gotta get there first, right? And just these mechanics, just to sit there and think about them. I've been working on my silly game for the last, it's got to be over 10 years now, and I still can't get it out. But trying to go through and imagine the game playing without actually doing a test or dry run of the game yet. How do I know my mechanics are good enough or fun enough? right? Why do we create this beauty? Why would we do that? And it comes back to the meaning of life. The meaning of life isn't wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed. That is not the meaning of life. Even working a job, making money, that's not the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to enjoy it. We kind of have two responsibilities, right? Have children, advance the human race in some way, shape, or form. That's through children, or that's through learning, creating, right? Just doing these amazing things so that the next generation can continue doing amazing things. And that's the point of life. You know, the 9-to-5 rat race we've created ourselves is this. All this is supporting a small group of people so that they can have a great life and enjoy that life. So artists, designers, you know, just storytellers, musicians, these people that create this beauty, this art, this is the reason for everything. So why don't we just pay people to create this beauty for society? Right? We talk about starving artists. Why does an artist need to starve? Why can't they just create their art for us to enjoy it? Right? So think about that. Let's try to reframe it a little bit. Play isn't the opposite of productivity. It's the opposite of burnout. So after you play a game with friends, an hour, do you feel refreshed after the game, or do you feel drained? Whether it's a physical game, even if it's a physical game and you are physically tired, I bet you feel good. Because, you know, you got some exercise, you had some fun with people while you were playing this active game. I think it's the same thing with video games. Why, if I wasn't trying to relax, why would I play a game like Johnny said, Master of Orion, or Stellaris, which I'm playing now, or even my version of Civilization 5? Why would I play these in-depth, hard strategy games to relax? Right? If I was trying to relax, why would I pick a hard strategy game? Why am I putting my brain into high gear to relax? If I'm really drained and I don't want to do anything, I'm going to put on a movie. I'm going to put on a movie that I've seen 100 times. So I'm going to put on Armageddon, or I'm going to put on an episode of Babylon 5, or an episode of Deep Space Nine, or there's just Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. These are movies I've watched so many times. I can just drain out, numb out. I'm watching it. I've seen it. I'm not worried if I miss something. I'm not worried if I fall asleep on the couch while I'm watching Armageddon, because I've seen it. I'm not missing anything. I still enjoy it when I watch it, but I'm not feeling bad about napping out for an hour in the middle of Armageddon. and I still almost cry every time Bruce Willis dies at the end of Armageddon. Right? Like, it's still a good show for me. Now, whether you like Armageddon or not, or whatever show you're liking, the idea is I'm really drained and I'm really just needing to zone out. That's the sort of thing I do. But why do I get excited Friday afternoon that I know maybe Friday evening I'm going to get to go play some Dungeons and Dragons, or I'm going to get to play some video games all evening, right? Why would I get excited by that? The hard strategy games. It's because it's not product. It's opposite of burnout, right? I'm not forced, the things we do at work, we have to do them. And there's always this sense of urgency. There's always this sense of failure. Or there's always this in the back of my mind, oh, I'm going to get fired if I don't get this task done today, right? And that's the burnout. That's the burnout process. If I'm playing a game, a hard strategy game, and I lose, I'm just like, oh my God, okay, that pissed me off, but I'm going to play again. Let's start another game, right? I want to bring it back to the art side of thing. Put in the comments if you think a game feels like art to you. You're playing it, but it's artful. It's something that you can enjoy it visually or mentally. Like it's a piece of art. Put it in the comments. We'll try to talk about it, or if you're watching this after the fact, maybe I'll try to interact with you and talk about that game. Topic number 2. This is also a continuation. Games teach real workplace skills, even when you don't notice. In the past shows, I've talked about football, right? You're playing football. That kind of equals workplace power moves. Each play, you're trying to get more ground. It's almost political in nature, but it's the same with business. You're trying to get the next bit of income, revenue, more viewers, whatever you're trying to do. It's a power move, right? So if you're on offense, you're doing growth work. So offense in my business is doing these sort of things, doing live, making content, messaging people, messaging previous clients and things like that. That's my offense. That's me trying to build my business. Defense, when you're thinking about football, you're defending, you're trying to keep that other person from getting you. But in business or in your job or in your career, it's the maintenance work. Defense is the maintenance work. So what am I doing in my business maintenance wise? I'm logging into QuickBooks and I'm making sure everything's up to date, and reconciling with the bank, things like that, right? But in your career, what's your maintenance work? Your maintenance work is making sure your resume is always up to date. Applying for a new job, right? Well, you might consider that an offense. So maintenance work might be taking that training, making sure you have your safety tickets up to date, right? That's maintenance work. That's your defense for your career. Right? Are you stuck defending your 10-yard line at work? You can't get stuck in that defensive mode, whether you're at work or whether you're a small business owner or whatever. You've got to find a way to get back into the offense. And I think a lot of people really do. We get stuck in defense because if we take that risk, we take that chance, we apply for that new job, it changes the playing field, right? You're not comfortable at your current position, whether it's on the field or it's your job or in your business, whatever. You're comfortable because you haven't taken that risk. I mentioned this, the games like SimCity, Civilization, Stellaris, Master of Orion, Dungeons and Dragons, they're really systems thinking. I got to change this, I got to change that, to do this, right? There's a lot of planning ahead with a systems type game. It's not some games where it's just a roll of the die and it's luck whether or not you go one space or go to jail or whatever, right? There's a lot of different things in systems thinking games, and this is all in life. Infrastructure, trade-offs, long-term planning, resource constraints, right? You want to build this thing in a game, you got to have the resources first. You can't get the resources without starting a mining operation or saving up some money so you can purchase the resource, right? That's the same with business. That's the same with our life. We've got to be strategic about what's going on. I really hate the advice in your life where it's like, if you stop buying that expensive coffee every morning, you'll be a millionaire by the end of the year. Bullshit. You gotta have a little joy in your life. You've gotta be able to relax. You've got to be able to get that caffeine that's going to get you going. And if a $5 or $10 cup of coffee is going to make you feel good for the day, physically, mentally, you're happy, you're good to go, that was worth it. That was worth it. There's more things in life than just accumulating money. You've got to balance that with your joy and your beauty and your art, right? You got to find that balance. And that's why a lot of people talk work-life balance. Well, some people are lucky enough that their job is their life, right? They love doing what they're doing. When I sit down with a client and we are talking HR and developing their policies or helping with one of their employee issues or something like that, I love doing that. That's fun for me. Terrible, I know, but it's fun for me. So everybody finds something different fun. So essentially, when I'm doing hardcore HR work, I'm creating my beauty, you know? You've got to, like, we talk about the work-life balance, and we talk about all the different parts of your life, all the different parts of your career, and all the different parts of your small business that you might be trying to run or operate or start. You can't fix one part of any of these without affecting the whole system. You can fix this and suddenly it puts everything else out of whack, right? You've always got to do that system thinking. How do I change this and how is it going to affect everything else in my life? My group of friends here in the city who I play Dungeons and Dragons with, it is very hard for us to find the time to play. We're all adults, we've got families, it's just a mess, a scheduling nightmare. And I just feel like I get a little pissed off because I'm thinking to myself, well, we book it, we put it in our calendar, and anything else that comes up, you change, right? people aren't prioritizing what's important to them. And when you got a group of totally different people, not all of them are prioritizing the game night. They're, like, I'll put it in a calendar, and that's it. It's set. My wife, Corinthe, she looks at it and she's like, "Oh, you've got game night that night." No, we'll do it a different night, right? Like, we'll totally blow off visiting friends or something because there's a game going on or something, right? So I think it's what we prioritize. And what I noticed just this week, we're supposed to be playing Dungeons and Dragons tonight. We're gonna drive to a friend's house. He's way on the south side, and two of us live downtown, so it actually takes us a long time to get there. But we've got it set. But last night, my wife was ordering groceries, and she's like, "When should we go pick them up?" And I realized that I told the Dungeons and Dragons group that I'm available every Friday night after 6 p.m. No, there's groceries to pick up every Friday night at some time in the evening. So it's just like, this ain't good. But that's only going to happen maybe once a month, right? But I was really upset because I'd made this definite, yes, I can do this. And I'd forgotten about picking up groceries. We don't go shopping. Nobody goes shopping anymore. We do the click and collect. We order on the app and we pull up and they throw the groceries in the back and we take off. So we don't go into grocery stores anymore. But that's an example of me trying to fix one thing. I want to play Dungeons and Dragons and I'm trying to make it easy for everyone else to schedule. But then I forgot that we also need groceries to survive. So everything is thrown out of whack with me saying, "Oh yeah." What's one skill your favorite game trains? Strategy, teamwork, calm under pressure, planning, persuasion, right? Go ahead, put that in the comments. Let's talk about how good your games are, how bad your games are. And don't say Monopoly. Monopoly is such a piece of crap game. All it does is destroy families, because that's how capitalism and fascism works. That's the starting point of fascism, right? The few win. One person wins. The game ends when one person gets the monopoly. That means everyone else who's playing, they don't just not win. They completely, utterly lose, go completely bankrupt. They lose everything. They lose their houses. They lose their hotels. They lose their and all their property, on mortgage, everything. They got to pay off stuff, right? Like, it is the end. You were just decimated. It is a dark and disgusting game in reality. So, as much as I loved Monopoly as a kid, I remember getting mad because nobody would make deals with me. And at that age, I couldn't understand, why aren't you making a deal? Why aren't you making a deal? I'm sure everybody could see that it was like, oh, he's getting all whiny because he's not getting that green one, so he can't get his the greens. Even though you don't get Boardwalk or Park Place, the green ones were always nice to get. Oh, Anyway, oh my god. And what game taught you patience? Monopoly didn't. Monopoly didn't teach you patience, that for sure. And some games, when you play, you get jittery, and you're like, oh, is it my turn? Is it my turn? And you're thinking ahead of how you got to do your turns, and you're just waiting for your turn. And it's always the person before you or something like that that does what you were planning on doing and just pisses you off. Oh. So what game teaches you patience as opposed to getting your nerves blown out, right? Anyway, let's talk about topic 3. Now, I did touch on this a little bit too. Talk about your gaming style and how it's your conflict style at work. So I just mentioned Monopoly and how I was mad that people weren't doing deals and stuff like that, so I couldn't win the game. And obviously, if I'm playing Monopoly now, I'm not freaking out like that. I don't know. Monopoly's a terrible game. But anyway, your game style back, obviously, when I was a kid, I was unskilled with people and how to just interactions in general with people in the world, right? You don't do that. But now, as an adult, how is your game style affecting your conflict style, right? Your conflict style at work. I've mentioned other weeks kind of 3 styles that I came up with. Number 1, collaborators. These are the co-op mindset people. They're the bridge builders. Let's work together. How does your department work with my department? Can we develop something that's going to benefit us both? How do we do co-training so that everybody gets good at the same time? The networkers. I want to go connect with that department because we need to better understand how we work together. Or culture stabilizers. These type of people in your organizations. They want to know about your culture. They want to celebrate your culture. They want to create a group culture within the organization, some sort of community. So we're connected to our workplace more than just we're a bunch of workers that work for this evil corporation, right? We're the staff at this specific office, and every Friday night we go out and have drinks, right? That's your collaborator. That's number 1 style. Number 2 style, these are your scorekeepers, your competitive minded employees or players. Very competitive, right? They're metrics driven, achievement focused. They're the top performer and they have a lot of energy. This might be your lone wolf. These might be your rock stars. They're the ones that they're not going to say, how do we work together? They're the ones that are going to say, let's make a game of it and see who makes the most or sells the most or something like that. They have that drive. It doesn't necessarily make them evil or a bad person or a bad employee. But certainly if you're an introvert in the organization, the scorekeeper is probably not your best friend at work. So the first one was collaborator, scorekeeper, and the third one I came up with is like a wild card. This is the chaos first mindset. This is the player of the game that's totally unpredictable. They got no strategy. They're just doing what comes up next. Kind of unpredictable. They might be highly creative, right? Because they got what they got right now, and they work through it, right? Or they're higher in their disruption level, because they might off balance systems or how you do things within the organization. Sometimes they're both, right? But the wild cards very well could be a lone wolf or a rock star in your organization also, because of the possible creativity they come. Being unpredictable might mean adaptable, right? Like I said, they got what they got, and now they got to work through it. So what does this kind of translate into for these three? The collaborators, they build trust within your organization. The scorekeepers build output. They're always working towards more output. And the wild cards, your third one that we're kind of scared about, they force change. I talked about how the wild card might disrupt your flow, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Might be good change. I mean, they might also cause some stress because maybe there's not enough people for them to convince that their way might work better, right? So there could be some stress in there, but at the same time, forcing change is important. Brainstorming is important. Making changes to adapt to the work environment, the economy, society as a whole. We've got to keep this up. So we have a lot of organizations where you have the same group of people and they got the groupthink on. They don't have no ideas, and they're just kind of huddled together. How do we do this? How do we do this? So they got the same ideas, the old tactics, and they're trying to make it better. A lot of times these are the people that are doing the same thing over and over, hoping to get a different result. This time, if we do it, it'll be different, right? But they didn't change anything. So it's always good to have new people coming into your organization, bringing new ideas. And another version of this is having different people from different cultures in your organization, people from different parts of the world, different people from Europe, people from Africa, people from South America, people from South Asia or East Asia, people from Australia, wherever the people might be coming from. It's valuable to have them in your group so that you can effect change or even think about change, right? You might not make the change, but with brainstorming, I got this idea. Nobody says that's a terrible idea, get it off the board. The next person says, your idea, and we do this to make it better, right? That's the way brainstorming works. Not but, your idea, but we'll change it. No, your idea, and we'll change it. We're improving it. Yeah. Which do you think you are? Are you a collaborator, co-op type person? Are you a scorekeeper, competitive type person? Are you a wild card, chaotic type person? Where do you think you fit? Put that in the comments. Maybe we'll chat about it. And which style drives you nuts at work? Oh, as much as I say I like the idea that a chaotic person can bring in chaotic stuff. It drives me nuts. I'm a little bit OCD and I'm a little bit set in my ways. I am totally willing to talk about change and make changes, but I can't have you do it on the fly, right? I can't have you come into work one day and say, I'm just going to start doing it this way. No, I need you to come have a chat with me and we'll discuss it. We'll brainstorm a little bit more, make sure it's right for us. After we have this proper discussion with the team, then I'm willing to say, yeah, okay, let's make a change. I'm just not on the fly change guy. You present me a situation, I got to hear all the facts, then I got to go disappear for a little bit and let my brain grind on things. And that's the way I am with all things. I got to think. My brain has to go through 15,000 permutations of the situation. So, which style drives you nuts? So, topic number 4. I coined the term tilt management a few weeks back, and I just love that. And tilt management tends to be, just like playing an arcade game. The ball, you're trying to flip it up and make it go places, but every now and again, you can get away with a tilt. You can nudge the whole machine a little bit and make your ball go a certain way. You can nudge it only so often and only so strong before the game pops up. Tilt, 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 and at that point, it could even just drop all your flippers and you lose your ball, right? You lose the whole round. So there's a kind of a delicate spot in there. You can tilt the game every now and again, as in make that chaotic change and possibly improve stuff. Try something a little bit different, right? And it also comes down to emotional control, right? We might see tilt management as like a manager freaking out or employee freaking out or something like that. So let's talk about some of this stuff. Again, coming back to some gaming equivalents to workplace equivalents. You ever get so mad at a game that you throw the controller? Maybe you accidentally broke the TV. Maybe you broke the controller. Maybe you just pissed someone off, like your mom or your dad, because you just threw a $500 thing across the room, right? That would be something like rage quitting. We know that person. That's the person who freaks out when Monopoly doesn't work for them, which Monopoly doesn't work for anybody, so that's a bad game for a rage quitter to be playing. But rage quit, it's the person who's storming out, they're shutting down, they say stuff like, fine, whatever. And I got a great example of this. A cousin of mine recently passed away, but he would get so mad and just I don't want to say excited, but emotional about when everybody said he was wrong or nobody wanted to go with his idea or whatever, right? And he would just go too far. He would get right into that argument, and he's like, no, this is the way it works. And then when he realized he's not going to win, he huffed, he puffed, and he would leave. And we're thinking, oh, Jesus, he's going to go out and run in front of a car on the street and get run over or something. Or maybe he's gone to his car to get his other gun and come back in. You know, like what I mean, like things like that. We're like, oh my God, what are you? Why'd you just leave? Why didn't you try to resolve the situation? He would normally go outside, have a smoke, come back in, and he was right as rain. Like there was no argument, like there was no issue. He would just come back and he was back at it. And God rest his soul, bless his heart. He was a character, and it was interesting, just when you think you've broken someone, he comes back and he's like ready for more. So that was pretty amazing. But that's that rage quitter, the person that just won't back down or won't concede their position at all, even though you might throw facts at them or the video proof that person wasn't getting run over. You know what we're talking about today. And they just storm out and they're gone. It's in the HR world, I see rage quitters and they storm out and they're gone. I quit, gone. And this isn't necessarily a them problem. They've been put in a situation where there's other issues. It's really an organizational problem. Oh, excuse me. So we have the people that have salty losses, salty loser. So it's not really a rage quitter who's just going to walk out. They're kind of the passive aggressive email people. Extreme sarcasm and really keeping score. Like, Ian, you shot my ideas down 3 times in the last 6 months. When am I going to get to contribute to this, right? Like they're scorekeeping. The passive aggressive emails, fine. I have no problem doing this, but I really think we need to change something, and they still manage to find a way to complain about something. Salty loser. The troll behavior, right? These people with their trolly behavior. So, conflict for attention. They want to be the center of attention. They'll fight you if you get the attention. They'll bait you and try to get you into an argument, right? They will be the ones who make a terrible, terrible comment, a biased comment, a mean comment, a racist comment, a sexist comment, and then they'll say, oh, just joking. This is not the type of person you want to play a video game with, and definitely not the type of person that you want to have working for you. I see videos that female gamers post, and the male gamers are extremely misogynistic, and they're like, you should be back in your kitchen, stop playing this game, you're just making it bad for the rest of us, or whatever. Like that's trolly behavior. And it's those people that shouldn't be on the video games. I'm gonna take my tea bag out. I'm out of tea, so that means the show should end soon. But you get in all these situations, the trolly behavior, the salty people, the rage quitters. My first example of my cousin who would get all up and crazy, go have a smoke. He went to go reset. And here's three reset tools if you're having a bad day, right? Take a micro break. Go get a drink of water. Go to the bathroom. Spend at least 60 seconds away from your desk or 60 seconds away from the situation. And I know it might be hard sometimes if you're in a role where you can't exactly leave when things go crazy. I'm thinking a cashier or someone working an assembly line or something like that. You can't just walk away. But micro breaks if you can. Clarifying questions, right? You're in that situation, someone's freaking out or whatever. You gotta clarify. What does that mean for X? Ask the question before you get too excited, right? I have seen situations. I've been steaming mad, and I'm trying not to show it. And I'm like, but what about this situation? And that was the first thing I thought of when this person made this comment or did this thing or whatever. So when you say, what about this situation? And they say, oh no, it won't affect that at all. Or it will affect it this way. If they can clarify it and keep you from rage quitting or becoming a troll, right? So basically, you got to ask those clarifying questions before reacting. So a repair move. What's a repair move? I'm heated, guys. Give me 10 minutes. I'll come back better, right? That's your repair move. That's similar to the micro break, but you are acknowledging to everybody that something is off with you emotionally, right? That's that repair move. I can't talk about that right now. I will come back. I promise I'll be better, right? Like, because you got to think about it. You got to cool down. You got to go count to 10 in the other room. Whatever you got to do. In my cousin's case, he went to go have a smoke. But he never told us. He didn't give us that, I'll be right back, I'm just going for a smoke. We were scared of something terrible happening. And he just went for a smoke. Right? So, hey, put in the chat. Hey, who's chatting? Speaking of chat, someone's chatting. No, it's just that spammer from Twitch. I'm not even gonna give him. It's always a spammer trying to get you to go to a different website. Whatever. Oh, I lost my spot. I changed screens. I got a little note section, but then when I click on a different icon to check the chat or something, it moves it. Not my fault. Put in the chat, what's your reset ritual when you're tilted, right? Your tilt management. When you get tilted, when you get off, what do you do to get yourself back on the board? What do you do to get your bumpers working again? Your flippers working again, sorry. What's the quickest way to calm down without disappearing? Like I said, we're sometimes in situations where we can't leave. I'm a cashier. I've got 20 people in front of me. I can't just storm out to the washroom or something or have a smoke break when I got 20 customers in front of me. I'm on an assembly line doing a crucial part. I can't stop the line. If I stop the line, everyone else after me is going to have messed up things to do, or the whole assembly line will come to a terrible, terrible accident, grinding halt, wrecking the machine, stuff like that, right? Like, I don't know how assembly lines work, but it's usually like hit the emergency stop button, the whole thing stops, and you got to reset stuff, right? What Well, what's the quickest way to calm down without disappearing from the situation? What do you do? That's, I think, inquiring minds really want to know that. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do to calm ourselves down when we're managing our tilt in that tilt management situation? Um, I like to ask this question. I asked this question before. What game is safe for a 15 to 30-minute lunch break? So what's that board game? What's that card game that you have in your lunchroom that people could play while they're having their lunch? That's safe, right? Not something like Monopoly that's just going to piss everybody off. What is safe? What gets people energized back to work? I mean, I think this is important. Our lunch breaks are important. It is, in the HR world, I think you got to take your breaks. You got to take your breaks because I know work can be hard. Work can be stressful. Work can be tiring. So use your breaks on how you need to relax, to recharge. And if you got games in the lunch break room, it better not be something that's going to just piss everyone off. It's got to be a good game. It's going to be a friendly game. With that said, what game should never be in the lunchroom? Obviously, Monopoly. Monopoly shouldn't be in the lunchroom. And anyone who disagrees with me about Monopoly not being a bad game, you haven't played it properly. You haven't played it with your family properly. That Monopoly can literally destroy lives, destroy families, and friendships. Right? Monopoly is a terrible game because that's what Monopoly is based on. Monopoly means me only, winner, everyone else losers. Not just second place, not third place, not fourth place. Losers. You all lose. Everybody loses except me. That's why we got billionaires. That's why we've got end stage capitalism turning into fascism, because a handful of people are winning the Monopoly game. The rest of us have to lose for them to win. Hey, what's your favorite team game? What's a game where people actually work together to help each other? Best co-op game you've ever played? Go, put it in the comments. Right off the bat, I'm thinking the opposite of Monopoly. Despite what you think about Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad Tactics, the game Cash Flow that he created, I don't know if he created it, but it's got his name on it. But anyway, Cash Flow. We are independent games unto ourselves. And we interact with the market a little bit. We are not really competing against each other with Cash Flow. I don't make moves or take actions that directly negatively affect other players. That doesn't happen in Cash Flow. You're all trying to build your own cash flow, your own businesses, whatever. But you don't really get other players attacking you, other players being affected by your choices to build your cash flow empire. right? And it's almost co-op, because when you're playing the game, player 1 is playing their game, but player 2 is reviewing their spreadsheet just to make sure the numbers are correct. So you're basically helping the other player, and then player C or player 3 reviews the books for player 2, as player 2 is reviewing the books for player 1, and then player 4 is reviewing for player 3, and player 1 is reviewing for player 4. So we're actually helping each other, like we're accountants helping each other make sure our money is in line, make sure that we're not missing anything good, or make sure we're not cheating, right? But it's not an attack game. You have a lot of games where there's strategies where you're physically attacking, or you get a chance at resources before everyone else gets a chance to resources. So you choosing a certain resource is an indirect attack on them, right? You know that someone needs that resource, so I'm gonna get it, just to mess up their game, right? You do have that ability. But what game doesn't? What's the best co-op game where like everybody's just trying to help each other, really? Put that in the comments, man. So games are training, games are art, games are emotional reps. If you can use play wisely, we can build better teams and better workplaces. So if you need HR help, workplace culture help, or staff drama triage, go to all my links up here. Use that QR code. It might be, if you're watching it after the fact, there might be a link somewhere, or a link on my profile, get you to my website, right? And drop your favorite game in the comments. Maybe we'll talk about them.